Ryan, real quick, just because I don't trust Mike, how should I pronounce your last name?
Ratino.
Got it.
I've been nailing it for
you have
3 years with my friends. I appreciate it. That's like a pretty easy one, right?
Okay,
I
I have heard you, like, in the last couple of months, at least twice, call Matt Kushner.
Oh, I know. He hates it.
Well,
I do that on purpose, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, now I know.
Yeah, he hates that. I heard when you called me Kushner. Welcome to the next episode of Pancom Podcast, brought to you by a bunch of people that pay us money for ads.
Thanks to all of those people. You're listening to Pancom Podcast. I am Nick Jiménez. I am joined, as usual, by one-time Actor of the Year and two-time, I haven't said shit about this, congratulations to our fearless Bronco riding host over here, Michael Beltrán, on his two-time James Beard semifinalist status.
Yep.
I can't wait until next year.
Welcome to the long list of 40-plus people.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. From here
we
on
made
out,
it.
From here on out, we'll refer to you only as the two-time.
Just call me the long lister.
The long lister.
The long lister.
And we are joined by, I wish I'd been keeping tabs on how many of our guests keep an entourage when they come around here.
I know, right?
Yeah, this is
He's writing deep.
Oh man, super deep. This is one of our deepest writing guests, Ryan Ratino, who is you might have heard references to the dinner that Mike did with Ryan in DC at Bresca, correct?
Yes,
Bresca. Yeah, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's been a long day, okay? I didn't fly here. I have to say, I feel like we're holding Ryan and Entourage against their will because, you flew in today.
Yes, yeah, we have the Jersey Italian and the Eastern European Italian.
Yeah, the Eastern European Italian. And I get a text at like 2, like, so we're here, but our food's not.
Right, exactly.
And I was like, fuck.
First, that was a first. Yeah, that was interesting. Then we went back, and thankfully, they were there.
Yeah,
they were there. Yeah, our coolers caught another plane than we did.
Oh man, that would have my anxiety like through the fucking roof.
Look at.
Yeah,
the chewed up.
Chewed up nails.
We have to keep our nails short, but today I bit them off.
So I will say I have referred to you several times because Ryan and I have been friends for 3 years.
Right, yeah.
Give or take 3 years.
Yep.
And we became friends because when I decided that I was going to actually go over this hump and bring a duck press to Miami, Ryan was doing one in DC, and then I was like, this guy's food and our food is very similar. I was like, I feel like we should be friends.
Yeah, right. So, then we find out the restaurants are mirror images of each other.
Almost like identical to each other.
Yeah, the same amount of floors, the same storage, the same equipment.
Yeah. And so I messaged you randomly one day, right? And it's pretty traditional in old school chef world that people are just like, fuck you, I know my shit, I'm not going to tell you anything. Right? And Ryan just shares a wealth of knowledge, which I would say it's admirable, it's crazy, you don't see it ever, and I've said it several times on the podcast, but I can't thank you enough for that.
No.
First of all, becoming a friend, secondly, helping me on things that I was very unsure about, and then I went to DC.
Right.
I mean, that was over 3 years ago.
19, right?
Right?
Yeah. 19, yeah.
And we had an incredible meal. I mean, you absolutely fucking annihilated us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me, Pastelito Papi, and Alex Gilardi, the Lazy Oyster now. We fucking, it was an incredible time. And then we saw the duck press in all of its glory. And it was great. And it was a great learning experience for me. And then I think we became pretty fast friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we talk about mirror images. Let's go all the way way back, and let's make a quick. How did you get to Bresca? Right. I've referred to it before here that you're young to be crushing the game, right? And how did you arrive there at that time?
Right. Yeah, I used to live here in Florida.
Right.
So I was in Orlando for years, and That's where I met my fiance. All of the good things, you know. Have to say that. And then from there, like kind of half back, I went to New York, came back to like Virginia from that, and then ended up in DC. So it was like a good medium ground for me of like close to both families, but still like a city that I felt like wasn't saturated with the same people doing like many concepts, you know, and kind of like
Talking about DC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. New York, I feel like, man, like I was in New York working for badass Chris at Caviar Roost, but like, you know, the same groups dominate the scene, you know? So it was like, go to DC, and, you know, back in the day, I used to talk to some of my partners that I met early on, and I'm like, man, it'd be sick if a Michelin guide came here one day, you know, because we can do it here. We have it. It's less saturated. Like, it's an opportunity to actually like step out and do something. And yeah, that's how I ended up landing in DC. You know, I was there, worked around the city a little bit here and there. I used to work for Richard Sandoval. You know, he has Toro down here. And yeah, so I used to work for him as like a task force and travel, open restaurants. One of my buddies runs this.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. A couple of friends that live down here, and he runs this one in the Is it Intercontinental?
Mm-hmm. Intercontinental.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
everyone knows the Intercontinental as the big screen with the dancing woman.
Oh, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I thought that was the casino in Vegas.
No, when you're driving, when you're on your boat, it's a big boat culture here. You see a big screen with a dancing woman. That is the Intercontinental Hotel.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, he's over there. But yeah, no, after that, I like settled down, met my partners in DC, and then kind of like went from there. I've always wanted to cook just like non-pretentious French, like all the things we love, the gluttonous, you know, the indulgences of foie gras and black truffles and caviar.
Delicious.
Exactly. Like the good shit that made food what it is today.
Right.
Like cook all of those things without the suit and tie.
Yep.
Right. So that was Bresca for us. Like I went to Europe, spent quite a few weeks there, and then came back and just like hit the ground running. Took an old nightclub, straight up like brunch on the first floor and DJ booths on the second floor.
Yeah.
And we took the first floor first, right? Did it. I told these boys today, you know, like we had our same. I mean, I'm telling you, like the how it began and how it went, same. You know, like went through the really busy opening and then the downturn of the summer, you know, and into like no team, small. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should switch this around, you know, into the first star, and then like bam, kind of like from there, then people trust you, takes off,
right.
You know. So it was good, and then we opened the second one upstairs, and that's when the DJ booth got annihilated ultimately, and now we're there. Now it's home, right? I love it.
This episode of Pancom Podcast is brought to you by The Barrel. This is the barbecue grill that, if you're watching this in video form, is in front of us. We're here with Chef Danny Boza. Danny, tell us a little bit about what the genesis of this thing was. Where does The Barrel come from?
You know, I was a chef. I was working for a civil engineering firm before that, and I really hated everything that I was doing at the time. So I've always had a passion for cooking. And then, you know, I decided one day to move to New York, and everything took off from New York, Chicago, Hong Kong, LA, you know, Colorado, and then to Hawaii, and then back to Miami. And then I opened up my own spot in Coral Gables, sold the restaurant, and moved on to the next bigger, better thing. Obviously, COVID hit, so we had our own passion project. It started because a friend, was now a business partner, Diego Londoño, approached me to do a menu for his coffee shop. And I said, you know, let's go to Colombia. I got to see the tree. I got to, you know, feel it out, get a little inspiration. So I went out there, and then, you know, I tried some of the food when I got there, and I was blown away by the flavor. I found out they were actually cooking with the actual coffee tree. And then I saw their South American style roaster, and it was just really dinged up, beat up oil drum. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I can make something that's really cool. So myself and Diego put our heads together, and you know, it's a home run in my opinion. It's very sleek, very beautiful to look at. It's very, very cool.
It's a conversation starter. People see that in your yard and they want to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely people see it. And again, we're not trying to take over anybody's yard. We're trying to make it a compliment to it. So what you would do on your regular grill for something very quick, you might want to say on a weekend I got more time and I want to chill out and, use the barrel and create some beautiful flavors out of that with our hardwood lump charcoal.
Do you remember what some of the first things you did with it when you were maybe like prototyping it, or you had it close to final form?
Yeah, actually, I'll keep it short. So one of the main things is that our base was simply just the base. It was just a very plain base, and in order to stop all the fat that was dripping and rendering, I would use sand around the side. But of course, even some of the best chefs in the world make some of the greatest mistakes. So I would drop some of the food directly on the sand, and there's no getting sand off food once it hits it. So we had to think of a different system. So now we created these 2 half-moon systems at the base in which you can add liquid and have a grate on top, which pretty much sets this apart from any other, grill, roaster, smoker, which, the 3-in-1 combo is not really commonly found out there.
Very cool. So if people want to learn more, if people want to buy this thing, how do they get more information about the barrel?
I would say go to our Instagram page, at Barrel the BBQ. And, you can go and see our link tree there, which has our YouTube channel, our order page, our information, our specs about the barrel. And it has a bunch of fun videos and very cool things that we've cooked out of it so far.
Very cool. And once you're there, if you use promo code PANCON10, that's PANCON10, PANCON, because I know a lot of people have trouble with this. We don't speak Spanish. We've been called Pumpkin Podcast, the Panko Podcast. This is PANCON10 for $100 off of the barrel. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
This episode of Pancon Podcast is also brought to you by Elite Impact Windows. Elite Impact Windows does exactly what it sounds like they do. They are purveyors of impact windows. That's the kind that, especially if you're in a hurricane-prone sort of area, you want so stuff doesn't come flying through your windows. Mike, you have impact windows on some of your restaurants.
Listen, I heard a rumor. Tell me if this is true. Are all their products tested to go up to 185 mile per hour wind pressures?
That is how their products are tested. That's all their products are tested to meet that. I don't know. I've never been out in 185 mile an hour wind. But if I were, I think I might want to wear some of these windows as like a suit.
I feel safer already just thinking about if I was walking around in that kind of wind and I was wrapped around with their just windows just wrapped around me, I'd feel like a much safer person.
Yeah, you should put them on your caddy.
Maybe not. But I also heard that they meet all the requirements of Miami-Dade County.
They do meet all the requirements of Miami-Dade County.
Fuck me, that's amazing.
EliteImpactGlass.com or on Facebook, Elite Impact Windows, Instagram, Elite Impact Glass. They are proud partners with Eco Windows, CGI, and Windoor.
One of the things I really appreciate about them and their company is that all their products are made locally here in South Florida, and fuck me, that's amazing.
Look at this. They are all made here in South Florida.
Did you do your research?
Man, I did not do the research.
Somebody didn't show up ready.
They have competitive pricing with totally 0% financing available. I mean, I don't know if you have credit like mine, you might not get 0% financing, but it may be an option. It's possible that that's an option for you. 0% financing. I don't know exactly how that works. Whatever the case, if you go on the website, you ask for a quote, and you mention Bang Gong Podcast, you will get 10% off of your installation.
And I don't know if you guys have ever installed windows before, but 10% off of window installation, that's a good fucking deal. And you know what? You got it here first on Pancon Podcast.
That's right. Mention Pancon Podcast. Again, it's EliteImpactGlass.com or Elite Impact Windows on Facebook, Elite Impact Glass on Instagram. By the way, you mentioned restaurants. They do commercial properties. So whether it's for your home or your business, if you need Elite Impact Glass to put, all that and do the things that they do so well, you wanna get in on that.
Also, this company, very woke. Very woke. They also offer solar power systems with backup batteries and custom generators for your home. You know why? Because they're woke.
I don't know if that's a positive thing these days to be woke, but but it's nice. I mean,
sounds good.
It sounds good to me that there's solar power involved.
I'm into it.
Generators, solar power, impact glass. If you go to their website, they got a video that shows off like a home that has all of that stuff going on at one time, which is pretty wild. That's pretty wild. A lot of panels, a lot of glass, a lot of things. Pretty soon, we are going to get our hands on at least one pane of impact glass.
I'm ready.
And we're going to try to break it.
I'm ready.
I don't know what the procedure will be, but Mike's breath will have a blast of freshness from that Banaka you just heard. I like this for the podcast.
A Banaka blast at last. Fast blast Banaka.
I just want everybody to know, and apologies to Elite Impact Glass, because this I don't want this to sound like an ad for Banaka, but in the time that we've been sitting here to record this ad, Mike has blasted himself with Banaka like 5 times.
Twice. Get excited.
I don't know, man.
Twice.
I don't know.
Come on. Twice.
Elite Impact Glass. Thanks to our sponsor.
Thanks.
Go get your windows from.
Go get those windows. I will tell you that, like, I mean, I had dined at Bresca before, but being able to cook there, like, because of how similar our restaurants are, like, I felt completely at home.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
I felt completely at home. It's like, oh, it's downstairs, it's upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I know this very well. And then there's another upstairs. I'm like, cool, that's kind of like our 3rd floor downstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then there's a storage room, but then there's also a prep room. And I'm like, this is all, like, I feel like I'm very at home here.
Same, man. Like, walking through today, I'm like, looked at these guys. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, downstairs to the prep kitchen. Heard. Got it. Like, tomorrow I'm going to be like, oh, it's in the cooler downstairs. It's going to feel so fucking natural.
Right.
You know, it's unreal, you know. Size, menu, everything. It's going to feel nice, you know.
Well, it's kind of, it's similar, like what you were talking about. Like, at the beginning, you start off, like, busy, and it's like, oh, it's all roses, and like, yeah, we're gonna fucking crush it, and all of a sudden it's like crickets in the room, right? It's like, you know, when the curtains open, it's like there's nobody there,
right?
It's like, fuck.
Yep.
Okay. And then everyone's like, no, but we should do this, and we should do this, and we should do this. And then, you know, luckily I have 2 great partners that were like, we should just stay the course of what we believe in you to do, and like, we should just do that. And I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna do anything else.
Right. Same.
And they were like, cool.
Right.
We just do that. And we stayed that course, and it's like, you know, there was a lot of lonely nights, but at the same time, you know, we're still sitting here today talking about it because it worked.
Right.
But it's that unpretentious, like, approach to food that's a little lost, right? Because everyone wants to, it's a lot of, like, fodder, a lot of, like, smoke and mirrors and shit.
It's like, make that shit taste good.
Just, and we talked about it when we were in DC. It's like, you know, proper meat cookery, it's like completely lost. Like, everyone wants, and I love vegetables, right? But no one really wants to cook meat anymore.
Right.
And I want to keep cooking meat.
Yeah, absolutely. Somehow a sustainable ecosystem is supposed to exist without half the ecosystem that created it.
Right.
That's the shit that I don't understand, you know? Like, the whole thing only works in unison, right? Like,
it's also super similar, too, because, I mean, when we opened 6 years ago, we couldn't dream of, like, the Michelin Guide coming to Miami.
Right.
And I remember when we spoke 3 years ago, I said, I didn't know if they were coming or not, but these are the standards that we have.
Right.
These are the standards that we're going to carry from a service perspective, beverage, food. Whether they come or not, it doesn't matter. This is who we're going to be. So when I was on a plane and we were like flying to Napa to do that event at the CIA, and like the news came out, I was like, we're ready.
Right.
We're good.
Don't have to shake the boat.
We're just going to keep, we're on course.
Right.
Like, this is who we were. This is what we wanted to do. And, you know, hopefully everything works in our favor. But at the same time, it's like, I feel confident that was going to be the case.
Right.
Like, that we, even if we get one or we don't get one, whatever it may be, like, these are the standards that we wanted to have.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to have standards, you know, and
Yeah,
a lot of Miami was a lot of like smoke and mirrors.
Right.
A lot of smoke and mirrors. So I love the story you told me before of when you got your first star.
Right.
Right. And how news came down one day and you didn't get a call.
Yeah.
Remember the story?
Yeah. I was telling these boys, because they just started working with me like less than 6 months ago.
Right.
So today, this is like the first time we've like traveled and done an event together. And they were like, how did it go? You know? And it's like, that's the shit. It's as real as it gets, you know?
Right.
Like, live it, you know? So, yeah.
In that story, what I remember the most is like why I feel like we became friends is like you wanted it so bad and it was like it almost broke you, and then when you finally got it, this like well of emotion that you had.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people who really care about the craft, forget about all the other stuff, the craft of like food in general and like the whole experience of what it is. I think that's why we do this shit to begin with, right?
Yeah.
You know, we do it for the guest, we do it for like keeping old school tradition alive, and I feel like that's why this stuff is important.
Yeah.
Because like proper cooking, I mean, it's like we're losing it every single day.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's enough people, it's just like, we harp that shit, right? Like, there's enough people. Like, do we sous vide? Absolutely.
Same.
Right?
Same.
Like, we run a business, right? Like, Saturday night, 140 covers. Like, yeah, like, some things need to, like, go and, and be circulated. But, like, do our cooks know how to roast properly? 200%.
Right.
Because, like, shit doesn't exist. Like, I feel like kids, the generation behind, I'm only 31, but, like, generation behind us, right? Like, early 20s, they can do a bunch of cool shit.
Right.
But they can't make a proper cuisson. They can't braise. Right. They can't they can't butcher down to from subprimals to prime. It's crazy. Primals to subprimals. Like, dude, it's wild to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, really, like, you don't know, like, you can fucking make a bubble that smells like, I don't know,
bubblegum,
eel ass,
bubblegum and
right?
eel.
But like, but you can't break down a rib loin, you know, and it's like that shit's crazy to me, and that's what, like, we focus on. I mean, in both restaurants, like, we cook over the most primal way of cooking upstairs in Jônt is, like, we cook over a fire. Everyone's like, how do you sous vide your proteins and then cook it over the fire? We're like, we never sous vide them in the first place.
Yeah.
We cook that shit over the fire the whole time, like interval cooking, all of that stuff. And, like, that's what I preach to the team. It's like, you come here to learn how to cook. Mm-hmm. Like, the innate, like the primal instinct of just, like, touching something and understanding where it's at, right? Like, we buy the best fish at the market, right, from Japan. There could only be one medai, one salmon, one sawara. They don't all cook the same over a 800-degree fire. So you have to be able to look at that thing and understand what you're doing. Fat content, it's lean, it's skin on, no skin, poach it first, blah, blah, etc., right? Like, and by the time you leave there, though, you have, like, a true
understanding.
Then you can put shit in the bag.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because you know how to do it from raw.
Right.
Then you put it in the bag, and, like, because you know the whole process. But, like, that's the stuff that's lost.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, duck press.
Oh, man.
No one's bringing that shit back, Like, there's, like, a few, like, you, myself, like, Commanders, right, in New Orleans, like, does it, right? Danielle does it sometimes.
Dave Buran.
Yeah, Pastorally, like, that restaurant, they do it as well. It's like, we just named, it's like less than a half a dozen.
Yep.
And, like, how many people are serving it 5 nights a week? Like, 3?
Yeah.
You, Dave, and us, 3 people. And the whole country serving it 5 nights a week. It's like, it's, shit's real. Like, it's real cooking,
Well, and it's the story I told you, like, Paul Liebrandt came to, and he ate at Ariete, which was, like, one of the most, like, gut-wrenching experiences of my career, right? Because that guy, he's visceral. He'll fucking destroy you even if he doesn't know you.
Yeah.
And I don't ever get starstruck by much, but he's a fucking legend.
Beast.
And he messaged me after. He's like, I'm glad somene's keeping the tradition alive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. Okay,
it's
cool.
Badass.
I'll take that, man.
It's badass.
I'll take it. But, as a young cook, I was always taken by old school technique.
Right.
Because I think it connects us a lot to our past.
Yeah. It's like the canal we had tonight.
Right.
Right? Like, it was like, first thing I noticed, I'm like, shit, people don't make that right.
Right.
Like, it's not right in so many places.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's, I take a lot of pride in that. A lot of people want to do the newest thing. Instead of doing the newest thing, I want to do the oldest thing as well as possible.
Right. Agreed. And I think starting to trend, though, like, the newest thing is, like, finding the best thing and just preparing it well.
Simply.
Like, perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, ingredients, technique, done.
Seasoning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's execution.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, people don't know how to season food anymore.
Right.
It's really crazy to me.
Leave, like, the 50 components off the plate and give me 3 things that are better, the best in their category. The best fish, the best produce, the best dairy, whatever it is, right? Like, that's all I...
When we talk about, like, new dish evolution, like, we obviously there's lots of ideas on the table and we throw around lots of things, and at one point it'll be like 12 items and whatever, and then I'm like, all right, so how can we strip this down to, like, the bare minimum?
Restraint, yeah.
How do you like strip it down to the bare minimum, and, like, let's say the 3 focal points of the dish, like, are they all great?
Right.
Are we consistently able to get these items sourced well,
right,
executed well? Can we do this during service? I mean, obviously you saw the size of our kitchen. It's not big,
right?
So can we do it? And that's where the struggle happens, right? Because you want to show what you're capable of, but at the same time, execution is always king.
Yeah.
You know, and can you execute in your room, and how, and also like service style, can front of the house be able to talk about it the proper way? Can we train our like very young cooks the proper way to do things?
Right.
And it's a struggle, right? Because you always want to do more and more and more and more, but how can we strip it down?
It's like
to the
we
bare?
said earlier too. There's no ego in it, right?
Right.
Like the idea is to like cook for the guest, 100%. Like we want to execute for the guest. And one of our corporate chef texted me like an hour ago while we're eating dinner, and he's like, "Yo, what if we stopped doing this stuffed duck wing and made this rillette, seared it, covered it in crispy like duck skin, surrounded it with spring vegetables?" And I was like, "Can you do 75 of those on a Saturday night?" And he was like, "Fuck no." And I'm like, "There's the answer."
Yeah.
Like, we can't do it.
Right.
You know, like we have that same with 388 square foot kitchen in Bresca. Saturday nights we serve like 1,300 plates. I mean, like teams are already like pumping. You know, it's like those things you got to like make the proper decision. You know, it's like you have to like execute at a high level while still understanding that, like, you know, we're in operation. You know what I mean? Like we have to do what's right for what's going to eat the best, what's going to plate the best, what's going to look nice when it finally gets out there.
Right.
After how many minutes is this cold? You know, like that's like all we think about. And it's back to that, like, you know, like, oh, we got these beautiful X this week, right? And then it's like, well, we'll use it this week, but can it go on permanently? Like if we can't source it, like it can't be, like if there's no like product sourcing to it, like we go to the market every week and it's just like, you know, some things are great. Like we have these like markets in DC, big Asian community around like the DMV. So it's like we have these markets and like stunning shit, like live king crabs, live Dungeness crabs, live langoustines, spot prawns, abalones, live eels, all kinds of stuff. The eels aren't so good, right, Daniel? We hit that.
Not a fan.
We hit that. Yeah. We got some fucking dirty fish tank eel recently, and we were like, that ain't going on the menu tonight. No, but like at the end of the day, like we go there and we'll get like some live shellfish. You know what I mean? But like, I don't want to buy saltuse from there every week. You know, I want to buy that from like somebody else that's going to like produce it the right way or as nice as possible. It's not going to be hollow in the core, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And like stripping it back though, it's like, do we need that? What does that do? Right?
Yeah.
Like, do you need that? What does that do? Nothing. It just gets lost in there. Cool. See ya. Next. You know, like onto it. Now, like we've dialed it back so far. If you look at the cooking from when we started, we're almost 5 years old now. We're like over 4.5 years old or something like that. We're at 4.5 years. It's like, man, in the beginning there were like salads on the menu where it was just bonkers. I don't know how we did it, honestly. Like some nights I'm like, we talk about our menus now and they're like so restrained and we only do like, you know, pre-fee and tasting. We've pulled it back so much from like 25 options on the menu between a la carte and tasting to now like a tasting menu that's broken up into pre-fee, you know, on the shoulders and then only tastings on the weekends. And it's like, sometimes I look at it around, I'm like, how the fuck did we pull that shit off when the carrot had like 19 compositions of carrot on it, and this and that, and it was like we used to do 190 covers, and then you look around, and you're like, yeah, I mean, none of those people work here anymore.
Yeah.
You know, for a reason. You know, they're like, dude, I'm out of here. That shit sucked. You know, like, and then you think back on it, and it's like, was it as good as like the food we're cooking now? No, like that's the evolution of like us and maturing as cooks.
But I mean, maturing is a huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. It's like once you. Same, right? Like 6 years ago, we just turned 6 in January. Like 6 years ago, I would just come up with like half a full new menu in like one day. And just like fucking.
We're rolling this shit out tomorrow.
Yeah, cranking the whole thing on the menu. And it's like, how are we going to do that? I'm like, we'll figure it the fuck out. And we figured it out. But it's also like, once you become confident in yourself and your cooking and like what security, vulnerability, like all those things as a chef are huge.
Right.
Once you feel secure in all those avenues and you're not looking for validation elsewhere.
Right.
When you just look for validation in yourself and in your team.
Yeah.
Like everyone feels validated in what they're doing and what they're putting out every day. Fuck everything else and fuck all the other stuff, because like executing simply but super well is, I mean, 1,000,000 times more valuable than everything else.
Yeah, it's timeless.
Right.
Like classics are classics for a reason. None of the classics had a bunch of shit all over them.
Right.
Ramal Baba.
Right.
Like, look at Ducas's food for the last 30 years.
Yep.
It's just ingredient focused, technique driven, most Michelin stars of any living dude right now.
Right.
For no mistake, right? Like, for all good reason.
Stripped down based off of execution.
Exactly. Raw, in control of your raw ingredients, right?
Right.
Like, that's it. Like, technique, ingredients, good, set.
So tell me, and this was also as your friend, something that I was like very proud of as your friend. It's like when you opened up Jônt and you opened with 2 stars.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big fucking thing.
We opened in a really great time.
Yeah,
we fucking
I mean, like
we nailed that shit. You know?
I mean that was intense, right? Like I remember you talking to me about it before Jônt opened, and the idea was like a Brooklyn Fair style concept, 14 seats.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you when I because obviously the first time I went to Bresca, Jônt didn't exist, and then this time that I visited, what was it, like 4 months ago?
Right.
When I walked in that room, I got chills, because it's literally like every I think chef like us, like it's the dream.
Right.
14 seats.
Yeah. Control.
Tight, controlled.
Yeah.
Execution driven. Just like beautiful plating, beautiful execution, beautiful service. And I was like, I walked in there and I felt all of that, and I didn't even dine there.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, like you can do all of that right here.
Yeah.
Tell me the thought process behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it was an old nightclub, right? Like, we used to, shit, man. When we got our first star, like, the lights would rattle on the ceiling from the nightclub being open upstairs with, like, 6 bodies in it.
Was it open?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So it was like an existing nightclub. We took the first floor, right? Then, like, our boys would, like, get out of service and, like, go upstairs, and it'd be like a fucking thumping ass nightclub, like just DJ booth, bar, everything like going on, and like the team would get out, go up there, like it was wild. My ass would go home, you know, but they'd show up to work the next day and like, we went up to Policy last night, and I'm just like, y'all are nuts, you know.
Yeah.
Just the elevator ride away though, so convenience. But you'd be like 10:45 on a Saturday. I was telling, like, dude, we used to cook until like 1 a.m. some Saturdays when we first opened, you know, first got our stars. It was bonkers and unsustainable as all get out, you know.
Right.
And these, you know, nights like 10:45 and the globe lights in the dining room would be like just like fucking twitching, dude.
Right.
And like people would be like, the fuck is going on in here?
As they're paying $250 a head.
Yeah, and we'd have to like go upstairs and be like, yo, can you turn the bass down on that shit? Like, you have the whole ceiling rattling in Bresca right now, and people have no fucking clue what is going on, you know? So like, same here, like we have great partners, you know, and like they're invested in the humans, right? Not just like what the business can do. And they straight up were like, what do we want to do next, you know? And low-hanging fruit, I mean, is the second floor real estate that's sitting above the other restaurant. That, like, same theory, like we talk about it all the time, the sustainability of building the business in like the same street, the same block, or within 4 blocks of each other, like not driving, like just like here 6 miles across town is like 40 fucking minutes,
40
dude.
minutes.
Like, Jesus Christ, you know? So it's like we were like, well, what about upstairs? And they were like, please, like, get rid of that thing, you know? I remember one day we were in like Sunday night dinner, and some dude gets like shit-faced in the nightclub on like a Sunday brunch, and it's like the time they're leaving. He grabs the fire extinguisher as he's leaving and just like blows that shit out like down the stairwell as he's leaving. And like our sous chef at the time, this shit is wild. He's in LA now. He fucking chases this dude straight out down 14th Street.
Love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Love this guy.
So
I already
we're
know
like,
who he is.
right?
I love him.
Nah, dude, he's from Florida too.
Of course he is.
He was awesome, Jose. But like, dude chases this dude down the street.
Of course his name is Jose too. I love that. It's so good. That's the best. Of course it's Florida,
awesome.
and his name is Jose.
Oh shit, it's hilarious. I hope he hears this shit. But like, chases this dude down the street, dude, and we're like, all right, we got to get rid of that shit, you know? So that's when we started building. Like, we're like, what can we do? You know, what makes people want to go upstairs? It's not normal, right? It's not street front property. There's no, I walked by and I saw these people dining there. You don't see anything.
Right.
Right? Like, you enter Bresca, you hang a left, you go through the bookcase, you go up the stairs, you go through the other door, you enter the counter. Nobody knows that shit exists unless they know it exists, right? Like it's not like that casual encounter. It's a Craigslist restaurant.
Backstage.
But like these guys, like, you know, so we talked about it. We're like, what can we do? And that's when we were like, hey, you know, it's tiny. It's 1,800 square feet, 1,700 square feet, something like that. That inclusive, right? Like inclusive of kitchen. I don't even think it's that. It's like 14 something if you just count like the kitchen and everything. Like the elevator takes up space, all the dish pits in that thing, like that off to the side,
or whatever we call a dish pit there.
Yeah, smallest thing you've ever seen. Like that. Another Jose.
5
years.
Bless that Jose, man. I've heard stories about this Jose, the dishwasher at Jônt. He's such a legend. Highest
paid porter in all of the Mid-Atlantic. Yeah. Exactly, because he's amazing. No, straight up, it's wild. But, you know, we were just like, what can we do to bring people like upstairs? That was the biggest thing. And then, you know, so it was like, let's build. It was 20 seats. It then became 18 seats. It then became 12 seats, 16 seats. It's back and forth all the, you know, like what can we execute at the highest level for us, right?
Right.
And now we built that, you know. We were supposed to open May 2020.
Right.
That was the slated opening was May 2020. So we that didn't work out.
No.
So yeah,
not for anybody.
Not for anybody, exactly. So that was pretty wild. And like all of our tables and chairs and all kinds of random shit was like stuck overseas, supply chain. I mean, it was pretty wild. I mean, not the most. Restaurant openings aren't that like.
They're not glorious.
Yeah, they're not that glorious as it is. That's a great term, you know. So this one was made even more, you know, ugly with everything that was going on. And then, you know, we sat on it. We closed like everybody else. We sat on it for 5 months, right? Roughly. We opened in like August, essentially. It was like almost August, late July, couple days. It was like a splitsy week into August. And then we just went for it. You know what I mean? We're like, fuck, we're going to either do it or what are you going to do? You know, like we wanted to keep our team. We wanted to keep going. Carry out was not that like thumping anymore, you know, like it was in the beginning for Bresca. So we just did it, you know, and we opened as like a Bresca pop-up. You know, we opened as a Bresca pop-up, learned the space, did all those good things. And then, you know, teams changed a lot. Now we finally like settled into a solid crew that like you can see like longevity in and all of those things. And, you know, Bresca reopened and all that shit. But yeah, it was wild, you know. And then
when I was there, one of the most impressive things that I saw, I mean, it's an operation, right? I love compounds. Like we're a compound. Like I love compounds and operations. There's so many different layers to it, but like what really struck me was the team. I mean, all like really good people that just care about like a common goal. Yeah. And it's so rare. Yeah. You know, and I tell my team all the time, like you're living in a weird like universe. Like the ether right now is like everyone cares about each other and everyone cares about like the thing. Right. And everyone's working towards a common goal, and like you guys should love that, because in my career that's 17 years long now, it's like I've only lived that like 3 times. Yeah. Now being one of them. You know, like 2 other times with guys that I'm still very dear friends with, and we grinded together, and we love the food that we were cooking, and it's awesome to see that, just like people that care about each other, and like that's why I felt incredibly at home in the Bresca kitchen, because like everyone was just like caring about the thing. Everyone just cares about the thing, and they want to do the thing super well, and they care about food, and they care about you, and they care about the place, and it's just like it's invigorating, you know. And I don't feel that when I go to a lot of restaurants. I don't totally feel that. And obviously there's tough days, and there's strains of days, and like everyone, you know, people get on each other's nerves and whatever, but at the same time it's like there's a team and they all care about each other. It's like so fucking rare, man. Yeah, I think, you know, it's a culture first thing for us, you know. Like I was saying to them, like I made it, but you make it, right? Like I made it, but like you make it every day, right? Like it's only good if you give a shit about it. Like I could care all I want, but if the whole team doesn't care about it, then like
what good is it, you know? And the only way they care about it is if we give a shit about them, right? And then
Right.
like it's like not we don't just like give a shit about people and care about people because it makes us a good business. Like we're just inherently like that's just like who we are, right?
Well, the people make the
hospitality.
place.
Yeah, 1000%.
The people make the place,
hospitality first all the time, right? And it's like, you know, no egos,
right?
right? Like hospitality first. Like we're here, we want to take care of the team. If we take care of the team takes care of the guest, and then in return, like we're all taken care of, you know. So
One of the things that one of the bosses I've hated working for the most, he always used to say like everyone's replaceable, and I'm like, you know, like maybe the things that they do can be replaced, but
Right.
that human
The
being
human,
can't.
exactly.
That human being can't
Yeah.
be replaced.
yeah,
What that person brings to the table, what they bring to the team, what they bring to like the environment.
right.
If they're a good human being, that can't be replaced.
You can feel that in so many places, though, right?
Right.
Like in like the nature of what we do as hospitality is like it's like instinct or you don't have it, right? Like you can teach like technique, right? You can teach finesse, refinement. You can teach those things, but if you don't want to be hospitable, it's not a thing. You don't,
I can't make you a good person.
No, exactly.
I can't
like,
do that.
You can't replace the human in it.
Right.
Right? Like you can replace the action, but not the thought behind the action.
Correct.
You know, and I think like that's what like sometimes I think to your point, like we live in a time now where people like are thinking about that more than ever. You know, like I say it all the time, you know, from when we opened to where we're at now, we're in a whole new place.
For sure.
Right? Like it's wild, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, we always gave a shit about people, but now we can do more for them.
I mean, you know, one of the I'm fortunate and blessed that I've done pretty well in my career, and like I have a lot of great things and great people, but like one of the best days of my career is when I could fully insure and give benefits to my entire company.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole fucking thing. Like without any kind of like this is just who we are and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like from the day that we opened, that is what I set out to do.
Right.
Obviously I wanted to tell my story, and I wanted to keep like a culture alive and like the Cuban American thing and all that stuff, but at the same time I wanted to open a business that people could feel, one, was their home, and two, that they were being taken care
Right.
of.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
as we stand today, this is the most competitive pay we've ever had. We're fully insured. We have
Right.
benefits. We have bonus packages. But 6 years ago, I mean, we were just like it's like pennies. Like I got this. We can cover payroll this week.
Right.
We can pay everyone
Yeah.
off this week. We are good.
Dude, yeah.
And
it's like
it's like night and day. So when I talk to young restaurateurs and you know, people opening their first restaurant or whatever it is, I share with them my story.
Yeah.
Because it was like there's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of peaks and valleys, right? Like you go through a whole mess, and you can relive it, and you can I can remember points in the last 6 years like they were yesterday.
right.
Because they are so important to your evolution as like a human being, you
Yeah.
know? And that's why for me now, like obviously our food is incredibly important to me. I am a chef, but like at the same time, the people make it all happen.
Crazy. Right.
And without them, we're fucked.
yeah, no.
Like we're fucked.
1000%.
And on top of that, just like, I mean, I've lived in the industry long enough to know like a lot of people didn't give 3 fucks whether I was okay or not.
No.
You know,
Yes.
like as long as you're working your station and you're doing your thing and whatever,
Food's coming out.
right? They don't
were
give a
good.
fuck what you're going through, and that's like the whole other kind of thought process of like training younger chefs to be good leaders.
Right.
Also, is something I was never taught.
Yeah.
You know, I think later on in my career, I was taught more of that when I worked with like some of my mentors, but like in the like visceral in between stuff, and people didn't give 3 fucks whether I was
Right.
okay or not.
That's it. Like we talked about it today. I talk to the team all the time. It's like we went through like so far these 5 years where like our foundation was here. Now the new foundation is like up here, right? And then as we evolve over the next, like say you work, you know, another 3 to 5 years there, you get to start from like the new basic of like how we got there. You get that like 8 years of evolution,
right?
So like as your launching pad, and if you don't use it, I mean that's on you, you know. But like you could skip 8 years of like all the shit that we've been through to when you start like, okay, this is how it works. From this, what's the new ground zero, right? Like you're so much in a better place, you know. And
it's crazy. The new ground zero is intense because, like, for me, since I lived like the original ground zero, it's like they're almost like, oh, we're only doing like 110 covers today. Like, oh yeah, like yeah, I used to do like 30.
You get spoiled.
Like,
right?
I used to do like 30.
Yeah.
Like we're doing 110. Like, oh, it's whatever.
Yeah, last week we did 130.
Yeah, like we like our PPA today is like 160. Like, oh yeah, whatever. Like that's what.
Yeah, right.
I've lived days that PPA was like $65.
Exactly.
You know, like
no, agreed.
And that's part of the grind. And I think becoming a restaurateur is understanding that,
right,
and just accepting it.
Yeah. Agreed.
And not being like, these kids are like little fuck faces.
No, right. Yeah, they get spoiled by the new normal.
Right.
It's like when you train your palate. I always talk about that. Like we eat the best shit every day. So then you go out to eat and you're like, damn, I just ate these Mao strawberries all week, and now I went to this place and got like a strawberry dessert and it tastes like nothing. Right? And it's like, right. What the fuck? Like, where's the flavor, you know? It's like, where's the beef tastes like nothing, and you know, right. It's like, you know, you get spoiled by it, and you have to like circle back on that, right? That like not everyone, you know, everyone's going through their process. We're still going through that process. We're still learning, right? We're still evolving as a group, and you know, as we build more spaces, you know, what else can we do? You know, what else can we build in for the team? What else can, you know, like help us mature, help them mature, all those things, you know. But yeah, it's wild. I fall victim to that same theory sometimes. I'm like, shit, 125, like last week we did 142, like what are we doing? Like, where's that 17 covers at? You know?
Did we fuck something up?
Exactly, right?
I remember like
who touched the book?
Yeah. Did they lock down the books? Do I have to check?
Did they get nervous up there? Like,
right.
Yeah.
I feel a lot like I'm more secure now than I have ever been, just because like I feel I understand all the emotions that my people go through.
Yeah.
Because I live them all.
Yeah, one of my business partners says like our job is to stay off the emotional roller coaster.
And that is a great fucking like, quote.
As leaders, we need to stay off the emotional roller coaster because you know what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Let them live it and then like guide them through it. But like, you know, we can like make those hills a little bit smaller for them and this and that. But like, we already went through that turmoil, all those ups and downs. You're like, fuck, what are we doing? You know,
right.
Like, where's it at? But like now we know better. You know what I mean? And there's like consistency and stability built in to like what you got. Confidence. You know?
I feel like the confidence portion just comes with experience.
Right.
Like you experience all the fucking shitty days, so you feel ready for like the shitty days. And I feel like dealing with the shitty days is what gives you the mental bandwidth to deal with them. Right. Because a lot of younger cooks haven't really dealt with the shitty days as they grow in the industry.
Yeah.
And I don't know, hopefully I've dealt with the majority of all the shitty
right,
days.
Exactly.
Like I feel like I've dealt with them all.
We definitely picked one of the hardest ways to make money.
Yeah, you know, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, yeah, you know, I did this and I sold this and I did that. I'm like, fuck me, man. I should have done something different.
Know, right? We picked one of the hardest ways. We say that out every week. We're like, man, that's happening again? Like, shit, we picked a difficult one, didn't we? Like,
I know, but I feel like more validated doing what I do than, you know, I have a lot of friends I've known since I was like 15 years old, and I love them, and they're all very successful, and I'm like, I just would never want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, this is all I know.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's what I like. I say that all the time. Like, what would you do if you didn't cook? I'm like, shit, I have no idea. This is all.
Start a podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Start a podcast.
That's
where I would be.
Pancon Podcast is not advising for financial reasons that you start a podcast.
Damn right we're not. Fuck.
Shit.
So,
awesome.
Jont's been open, what, 2 years?
Like 17 months.
17 months.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like it's been around for 10 years.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
Like, sometimes I feel that way too.
Yeah, it's crazy. You now essentially have 2 + 1 star under one roof.
Right. 3 with a comma.
3 with a comma. Yeah, 3 with a comma.
Me.
Yeah, it does.
fucking
I'm sure it
comma
does.
haunts me, you know? Like
I'm sure it does.
3 with a comma.
Well, I'll tell you that the last meal I had at Bresca was, it far exceeded the first one, and the first one was great. And I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I hope nothing but like the best things for you and the next guide that comes out. And it's like it's going to be. Hopefully, it's a very good book season.
Yeah,
for you.
I think it's a good season for the both of us, huh? Should be
one
should
can
be
hope.
fun, right?
One can hope.
Good
I
spring.
already told you. You win more stars. I'm flying to DC and we're doing things. We're popping all kinds of bottles, and if things happen down here, I hope you do the
flying
same.
Down here, exactly. No, we'll have some fun for sure. It's definitely something to celebrate, man. We're excited, you know. We're gonna release close, I think. Right?
Oh,
We're
yeah?
both slated for the spring, aren't we? I think.
I don't even know.
Yeah, me
At
neither,
this
but
point, at this point, everyone asks me, so like when? I'm like, I just
Everything
go to
gets-
work every day. Like
Yeah,
I don't even
right?
know.
everything gets pushed. It's better not to think about it,
Oh man.
right? It'll drive.
I know
you
because
nuts.
it'll drive you nuts.
It'll drive you nuts. Like
People ask me all the time, it's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. The first
I'm-
year, I mean, we got our first star, dude. The night before, I was like, oh my God, I haven't gotten a phone call yet. I thought I was going to vomit. I'm like, this sucks, you know?
Every day I wonder. So like, obviously I'm big on this. Like, awards don't validate what we do for a living, but this is a personal goal for me. Like for me, it's a personal goal. Obviously, I'm super grateful for being nominated for a beard again. That's like, it's another personal goal. I worked for 2 guys that won beards down here for
Right.
Miami, which there hasn't been many. And like coming up, working under those guys, I always said like my goal was to do what they did and surpass that.
Right.
And those are personal things. As
Yeah.
a company, it's very different.
Yeah.
But personal goals are different, and they can become maddening.
Right.
And people are you okay? I'm like, I'm just like, my anxiety is high.
Yeah.
What do you want me to tell you?
Right, exactly.
You want me to give you like a
Yeah.
no, everything's fine. Like, no, everything's not fine.
Yeah.
Right? We're like working towards a goal. We're doing a thing. It's high stress. Like,
Yeah, while managing 150 employees.
right. While managing
Personal
150 employees, several other outlets also. And, like my team is also, they're also there. I see it on their face every day.
Right.
Like I see it on them every day. Like everyone in that room wants everything I want as bad as I want it.
Right.
And I want it for them as bad as I want it for us.
Right.
Like I want it for the team. And that's what
Yeah.
I love about Stars.
Yeah.
It's a team thing.
Totally. It's a restaurant thing.
It belongs to the restaurant. It doesn't
Yeah.
belong to a human.
Yeah.
And I find that invigorating because it's a team award. Like,
Right.
like you're winning something together.
Yeah.
And it took all of us to make it happen.
Every person.
And I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So,
Agreed.
everyone else like, why don't you have a good time? I'm like, because now's not the fucking time to have a good time.
Yeah,
like,
right,
I'm just like,
exactly.
we're working towards a
You got
thing.
shit to do.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
have
We got shit to
do.
do, man. That's why,
So,
Yeah.
what's next? I mean, you'll have like a lot of things that,
Yeah.
that you have a compound.
Yeah, maxed out compound.
Yeah,
Can't
maxed
add any more shit to the compound either,
Right.
Like, I wish. Yeah, for us, I mean, like, we have a ton of talent, on the team. So, like, one thing we talk about all the time is, like, how can we move in a direction that, like, encompasses that talent,
Right.
Like, a focus for us that we've been working on is, like, we'd love to be, like, a hospitality brand, but also, like, a seed company for our talent. Like,
Amen.
like your first restaurant deal is never the most primo deal you're gonna get. You
Right.
get fucked. You get no TI, you pay the most rent.
Oh, my
You
favorite
get-
question is, what's TI?
Right. Yep.
That's my favorite
It's
question.
like no TI, you pay the most rent. You don't know how to find a GC. You don't know like what the hell you're doing. You know what I mean? Everywhere you worked has been built. So it's like for us, it's like we have all this talent in place. It's like how do we become a seed for them? Like they leave, they go get like a shitty deal because they don't know any better, or they stay like on brand, like with the company. You build the brand bigger and together with more branches, right? It's like a family tree, like what can our tree be? That's
it's
what we talk
scary how
about,
similar we are, man.
right?
it's
It's like, what can our tree be like in 30 years from now? Like, like when you look around and it's like, look at TK's tree. fuck, like some of the most talented individuals. Like it's crazy, man. Like it's crazy, and it's like, what can our tree become? You know, like who's gonna branch out? You know, like Mike, he's been with me for 7 years, coming down to Tampa, taking like his
what
first,
a great guy, man.
Right, awesome dude, head chef position, right? Gonna like get out on his, you know, and do it like without me there, and like hopefully like wrap up a star. You know, like personal goal of his. You know, I don't just say it for like, oh, the stars. No, like I know that dude like grind his. If he worked for me for 7 years, like he was committed.
He
like,
was.
Yeah.
He was.
You know, it wasn't always like fucking a fairy tale. You know, and it's like, but that kind of shit. It's like, you know, can we seed our team to like their restaurants, help them get a great fucking deal because, you know, we have longevity in a brand that like we're a good operator, you know, get them huge TIs so they don't end up $2 million in debt on their first restaurant.
Well, I mean, I think there's
It's
so much to that, right? Because like we take a lot of pride in that too, and that's something that we've talked about plenty of times, and something that we've, even people that haven't worked for us, people that I know, and people that are good people, like, do you need help? We're more than willing to help.
100%.
Like we will help you in this whole process. We will, you know, our whole team is at your disposal to help you get to the place where you should be. And it's simple. Like I've talked to so many people that don't even know what TI means.
Right.
That don't know what the simple things in a lease that they should be looking for. And it's, to me, it doesn't like anger me. It does anger me sometimes from the other side because they're willing to take advantage of someone that just wants to, like, is trying to live their dream.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm incredibly happy to help them on that journey.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because I want them to be set up, because the more restaurants that are in Miami that have a solid foundation, because Elise is a super solid foundation, right? To build on, the better off we're going to be as a city.
Yeah.
You know, and for forever and a day, and I've said it a million times, like Miami's looked at in so many shitty ways, but there's so much fucking talent here and so many people that are working their fucking ass off to do good things, produce good food with good purpose. Like, if I can help in any kind of way, I'm more than willing to do that. And it's incredible to me that there's not more people like that.
Yeah. Well, I always say, like, I want a slice of the pie. I don't need the whole thing.
I don't want to eat the whole pie.
No. I'd like hate to be the guy like in a, you know, like I'd love to be the guy in a G-Wagon, but not while my chef de cuisine is in a Prius.
Right.
You know, like it's just not okay. You
right.
know what I mean? Not okay with me. So like that's just, it's not who I am. There's like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, right? But it's just like not who I am. So it's like at the end of the day, like what can we do to branch? And that's what we're working on. We're working with the buddies. Like we want to build a marketplace, right? Like we source a lot of badass food. It's like, why not like sell like that to the community too? Like you want to come in and like eat these beautiful melons or strawberries or get this fish from Japan that you can't buy anywhere else. Right. We can sell it. You know what I mean? Like we can get that. We can harness that, like all of that time to like source those ingredients for our restaurants and put it in a place that like people can get like beautiful things, you know, for home. And more people, I mean, like I cook at home all the time now. I never used to. Yeah. But, like now I cook at home all the time. Like I take things from the restaurant, go home, cook dinner with my fiance, and just like hang out. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I also live like an hour outside of the city. So,
yeah,
you know, but at the end of the day, it's like we're working with a buddy and we're like, hey, want to put a restaurant in the back of this space? Like we can, that's nowadays, like what you got here, what we have there. That's the way, like, I mean, your rent's 24/7.
Yep.
You know, like that shit don't stop.
That's right.
You know, and it's never gonna. Right, nope. Like the only way, and it's the only way you stop is if you can buy it, you know. And it's like for where we're at in DC, like you ain't buying that.
Same,
you know, like you're not buying that thing, you know. So it's like we're working with some people, but yeah, it's fun, you know. That's what's up. Like we're just gonna keep pushing, keep trying to like build community, build our tree, continue to support our team, and see where it goes, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said to just trying to help the community in general, to see the whole community like flourish, because that only makes you stronger as a brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Because 100%. The more people look at DC as like a dining destination, it only helps you more.
Right, I'd say that all the time. It's like the more people are like, do you want them to get a star? I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love the DC guy to get bigger than the Chicago guy. Right? Because then like maybe it passes enough. Like it's going to take time, but like we're right there. You know, like the DC guide is like a few restaurants away from the size of like the Chicago guide. It's like no one would have guessed that shit 10 years ago. Would DC ever have more Michelin Star restaurants in Chicago? Nobody would have been like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago dominated the scene 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
For
like
sure.
now you're right there. We're within like five restaurants to get like surpass, like give or take. And it's like at the end of the day, like I'm like, yeah, I'd love to see more people get stars. I'd love to see our team branch out and get stars. I'd love to open up another restaurant and get more stars. All of those things, you know what I mean? And it's like all that does is bring better cooks, right? Then the cooks lift your restaurant up even more, so you can then do more for them. It's like a whole it's like just a whole
It's
ecosystem.
a domino.
Yeah, it's
a domino effect.
And it's like then that makes your chef's life, your sous chef's life easier, makes your chef's life easier, makes your life easier. So then you can do more for your team. Turn around and put more back in, and constantly like make it a better place to be, you know. But if you're like, nah, I don't want to see them get a star. There's too many people out there like that. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see that. Like it's like why?
Well, it's the
Like,
old school mentality, right?
it
Like
is,
I don't
right?
want to. I don't want to teach this person how to do the thing because it's my job.
Shit, we talked about that today. Exactly, right? Like instead of like building people up, right? Like I mean, wouldn't it be sick to not have to run service 5 days a week? Fuck yeah.
7.
7, yeah.
We do 7
for
here.
you,
We do
5
7.
for me.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's like absolutely. Like, isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Like without, you know, I was saying earlier, like, you know, players become coaches, right? With no coaches, there's no players. Like
That's
it's vice
right.
versa. Like it all works in the same. And like if you can't surpass the people that you learn from, then what was the point of them ever investing any time
Right.
in you, right?
Mhm.
And it's like if we're gonna invest, you know, like I hope Mike goes off and just like fucking annihilates it, you know what I mean? Because if he
Same.
doesn't, I'm gonna be like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and people expect him to anyway. So like, I expect it.
I
I'm
expect
like,
him to.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I'm like, I want you to do good because people expect you to do good, man. So like, you have to, you know, like, yeah, it's wild, but it's a good place to be right now.
I think that Miami is a very interesting market right now. I mean, obviously, like the whole world has moved. I feel like has moved to Miami, and the scene is pretty intense. A lot of things are changing. There's new big groups. There's a new duck press in town. Also,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's only with pasta, apparently.
Oh
yeah.
shit!
I'll
Okay.
send you the video. It's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah. It's cute. But you know, the one thing that I'm very happy about is that I don't know, over a decade ago I was like, you know, I have an opportunity to leave or I could stay, but this is like my home and I want to make a difference here.
Right.
And then along with making a difference, I wanted to, you know, tell a story and I wanted to do a thing, a guy from Miami and the whole thing, and then also like hopefully have people that work with me and around me do their own thing too.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of that, and I think it's like that is the goal, right?
sure.
That is the goal. Like you're leaving a legacy of like people that had learned alongside you, under you, you know, and the whole thing, and it only makes the city stronger,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So, I mean, Mike is a good example of that for you. And
Yeah.
I mean, I hope Mike annihilates Tampa.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'll actually go to Tampa now. Because I've
Exactly,
actually
a
never
reason.
been to Tampa in my
Really?
never in my entire life
Fucking A.
have I been to Tampa. But you know, it's interesting. Miami's an interesting time. You're gonna see over the next 4 or 5 days that you're here. It's it's a very interesting time. You've only been here for like 8 hours.
8 hours.
So
yeah, exactly. So half of it at the airport.
yeah,
You know?
half of it. So the reason why, let's talk about the reason why you're here. You know, over the last 3 years that we've been friends, we've been talking about cooking together
Right.
a couple times. So I went to DC, and then when I was actually, I was in California for that event, and I called you because that's when the whole like the guide coming to Miami thing, and I was like, you know, what do you think? Blah blah, whatever. Which I appreciate advice 100%. Like I always take advice and like people who know more about things than I do. Like I want to know as much as I can,
Right.
especially about the shit that I have no idea about. And I honestly, and we talked about this a bunch of times, I never thought the guide would actually come here.
Yeah. Same.
And you know, now they're actually gonna, you know, grade the city, which is great. And you were like, you know what, you're gonna do a dinner here, I'm gonna do a dinner there. And I was like, super game. I mean, I love that. We've only done, I think, like 4 collaboration dinners in the whole like 6 years that we've been open. One was with Manny from the Surf Club, which was great, and then 2 other were with very. You guys are doing great. Yeah. And there goes the Ariete team to go drink all the beer at Taurus. And yeah, I mean, it's first of all, it's an honor. I love cooking with my friends. I love cooking with like-minded individuals. So we're doing what, 6 courses, 5 plus dessert?
Yeah, I think 5 in dessert or 6 in dessert.
Right
in there.
Yeah, something like that.
I think I fucked one of them up and brought it as a full course, and it was supposed to be a snack.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, the foie gras.
Oh, so we're doubling down on foie. I love it.
What did he call it out there?
Well, we're doing like oh man, Manny. Manny's been working on this dish for a couple days. So we're doing like, I'm just trying to find him because he's very stressed right now. My chef, the chef of Ariete, Manny Arredondo, is very stressed today. And we're doing like a guava and foie mosaic.
Okay.
Served with brioche, white chocolate crumble, and tarragon salt.
Okay.
So what's your foie dish?
Yeah, I know, right? So we got foie cured like old school terrine style, but then like pasta rotami set with a little bit of sweet sesame butter and Madeira jelly.
Oh man, this is good.
Perigord truffle, and then the fried duck fat waffles.
Oh, I love those waffles.
Those waffles are good. They're
those
addicting.
waffles are good.
Yeah, Eggo could like.
Yeah,
that's the new flavor.
That's what you serve with the caviar service, right?
We did, yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
now they do like Lay's potato chip flavors every year. Like we need to do like fucking an Eggo competition and get the duck fat waffle in there.
Those waffles are fucking delicious. I mean, those were some of my favorite. That was one of my favorite bites when I ate there.
Awesome.
Just the whole like presentation too.
Yeah.
Right, the whole like thing. Ryan is very big on plates.
Oh,
I thought I was a big plate guy. And then I met Ryan, and I'm like, man, I don't know shit. This guy's got plates that I could not even imagine. And when he told me the prices, I'm like, I'm good. I'm solid. I don't want to know about these
I liked all the JL.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All the JL coquette tonight was
well,
nice.
we're still missing half of our order.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
It takes forever, right?
I know, but they're incredible.
Oh,
they're
stunning.
so good, man. Their stuff is like beautiful, and like we met with the JL guy. He was like the sweetest French guy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was like the sweetest guy.
I've never met anybody.
I wanted to put him in my pocket. I'm like, you're one of my friends for life.
Dude, their shit is amazing.
Amazing. And it's all handmade. It's fucking like nuts what they do over there.
Porcelain, man.
So what's the other? You're doing a scallop dish?
Yeah, we're doing snack, right?
Right.
We did buckwheat tart. It's fucking shit.
What's the dish?
Squash fudge.
There it is.
Buckwheat tart, squash fudge, wild steelhead roe. We did then foie. Then we're doing miqui, like lightly poached scallop served cold. Buttermilk, Hokkaido urchin. We got some Ogawa sea urchin, Celtus.
Oh man, we're doubling down on sea urchin too. This is great.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, this is right on. And then duck.
Yeah,
you doing duck?
No, I'm not doing duck. No, fuck that. I did a duck over there. You're doing your duck here. Yeah. That was good.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
No, we're doing.
What are you doing with urchin?
Well, this was the last second edition. We're doing monkfish wrapped in monkfish sausage that's then wrapped in Swiss chard with a corn pudding, potato souffle, and just like one sea urchin tongue on top of one of the souffles.
Nice. Yeah.
And our last savory dish before the duck is the pork and morcilla press with Gordo Rancho lima beans, and then we do this like calabaza dumpling stuffed with head cheese, and then the jus is kind of like it's modeled after like caldo gallego, and then we take a bunch of piquillo peppers, we cook them down with red peppers, onions, sherry vinegar, we puree it, and then we fold it into the jus. I love like finishing dense sauces with like vegetable liaisons to like cut into like the richness of it, but still like you get all the flavor.
Right.
And then the duck.
Yeah, I think we have like 8 courses. Like the whole
people are gonna get their money's worth here.
5 plus 1, 6 plus 1. I'm like,
and then our snack is malanga tater tot that was inspired by Nick. Actually, the malanga tater tot was inspired. Yeah, the Malanga tater tot was inspired by Nick because Nick is quite the home cook, and I love his Instagram story of his cooking because sometimes it's so bad and sometimes it's so great. It's awesome. So great, and he usually uses the guys that lets
everybody relax with the sometimes it's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the people that do ads on here, they give us like equipment to use, and Nick always uses them. I don't always use them, but Nick does use them.
I do.
And
shout out to the barrel.
We'll probably cut that out. We'll probably cut that out because they haven't paid us to use it. No,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
this episode will have an ad from the barrel.
Yeah, well, I use the barrel.
Yeah, barrelthebbq.com. Use promo code PANCONG10 for $100 off of your barrel barbecue grill.
What is this?
This is a real thing.
It's a piece of equipment that they have an ad on here, but you can get a discount if you use the discount code
PANCONG10. PANCON10 $100 off.
$100 off. That's a lot to listen to this fucking podcast. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he made this like Malanga hash brown, and I'm like, man, that's like a really fucking good idea. So we workshopped it for. I mean, ours is a little different, but. we workshopped the fuck out of it, and it's like a Malanga tater tot with caviar and creme fraiche and chives.
Nice.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's incredibly simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also have a caviar supplement, so you can go to 10 courses here apparently.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Caviar, so, like, Ocetra, plant.
We're just out to surpass expectations.
That's all I want to do in my entire life. That's all I'm trying to do. So hopefully the 60 people that have bought tickets to this thing and will be here tomorrow have an absolutely incredible time. I'm shocked how many people from DC that go to Bresca have been to Ariete.
Yo, a lot.
So many.
You know who's gonna, dude? There's some big hitters here tomorrow.
I know.
Like many people hit me up and they're like, so we're looking at a space, right? That's like owned by Whitman Walker in DC, where we want it like 2 blocks from us. And then one of our team, they're like, oh yeah, my friend said one of the board members of Whitman Walker is going to be at the dinner at Ariete on Thursday night.
Oh, no shit.
And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, fuck it. Why not? Add another one.
I love that.
But sure, he was like, yeah, my corporate chef might bring Paul by he hit us up. He's like, our corporate chef might bring Paul by for the dinner. And he was like,
we're back to talking about Paul Liebrandt.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Like, that story is one of my favorite. Right? When Antonio hits me up at like noon, is like, hey, are you guys open today? It was on a Monday. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to bring Paul by. And I'm like, cool. Who's Paul? And he's like, Paul Liebrandt. I'm like, oh, you don't want to lead with the whole fucking name, right? Because there's so many fucking Pauls in the world. You didn't want to say, Paul Liebrandt's coming to dinner tonight. And I automatically I was at your house.
And you swiftly left my house.
I absolutely left your house.
Yeah.
I absolutely left your house. And I was like...
That might have been... Was that the day you just went to use my toilet?
It was. It was the day I just went to use your toilet.
You were like dropping off or picking up a car at the garage or something. You're like, hey, Nick, I need to use your toilet.
Yeah.
You stuck around for a while, and then Paul Liebrandt showed up.
And then I got a text, Paul Liebrandt's coming to dinner. I'm like, Nick, I'm going to have to go.
Yeah. He might be back tomorrow. That's what he told me.
Well, we're ready.
That's
yeah, absolutely. And then
Nicolas Jiménez.
The Big Ten.
The Big Ten.
What's that gentleman's name?
Jonathan?
No, but isn't Jonathan bringing the one of your investors, a really sweet older guy?
Oh, is Wayne coming?
I don't know. I thought that was
Wayne's coming. Actually,
I don't know if Wayne is, but Wayne is one of
the 14 people in my mind that would be here tomorrow.
Wayne is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my fucking life.
I hope Wayne. We're gonna make Wayne listen to this.
I know, and Wayne. So Wayne came to dinner at Ariete, and he was like, have you ever heard of a restaurant called Bresca? I'm like, I was like, yeah. He's like, this reminds me a lot of it. I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's hilarious.
And then Wayne was at the dinner that I did at Bresca, and he's just like the nicest fucking guy.
I think
man.
Wayne's is it his sister-in-law or something?
He's got family here.
He does
somehow.
in the Grove.
In the Grove.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like he might be around now that you said that. I might have slipped my mind. I hope he's here.
I hope he's here.
That'd be fun.
What a delight that man is. He's a delight.
It's fun to have a familiar dining room.
Oh, for sure. Like, I had never met Maru before.
Yeah, Maru, right?
And then when we did the dinner at Bresca, she was just so sweet.
You know Max? Max versus Food.
Yes, Max versus Food. Yeah,
so Max is going to be here. Jonathan's going to be here.
Oh, Max is coming tomorrow?
I think so. Yeah, he's in the Big Ten.
Oh, he's in the Big Ten? Oh, is he?
Right?
Let me tell you, that motherfucker can eat.
Wild.
Man, when him and Jonathan and Miguel Massans, which is another friend of the podcast, came to dine here, I fucking crushed them, and they were just like, fine.
They probably went to Taco Bell after.
Probably.
That's
like,
Jonathan's
they were fucking
signature.
fine. Like, they were just like...
Jonathan crushes a fucking tasting menu and then goes to Taco Bell after they end at Little Washington.
Jonathan, that we keep referencing, is your... What is his exact
He's
title?
my business partner. He's director of operations.
Yeah, so Jonathan is one of, like... It's calm and cool as a cucumber, but he has dined every... Like, it's... I don't fucking stand how this guy eats
I know
so
how much
fucking
money he makes, too, so I don't know how the fuck... Like, right?
That's everyone's question. This guy's got to be fucking loaded, right? Like,
right?
he's eaten everywhere in the world and,
Like-
like, the most extensive tasting menus. And you meet him, he's just like such a quiet, nice man. And he's like, literally, he's the most interesting person to follow on all of Instagram. Forget Kanye West and all these other folks on Instagram,
right?
all the Kim Kardashians of the world. Jonathan Kano, right? Follow him on Instagram. You're going to find some of the best food in the world.
24 hours in Macau.
Yeah.
Right?
He'll spend 36 hours in a place have 6 dinners. I'm like, how did you even do that?
How many days were you off? I was off for 48 hours. I spent 30 of them in Macau, and I'm back.
Wow.
Like, what the fuck?
And then he just goes to work, and he's just like quiet assassin.
Right? Red Bull.
Yeah, I feel like he float. Like, you ever seen like the movies like like that they float, right? I feel like Jonathan just floats around the dining room, and he's just like very quiet, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and then you see him in a corner just looking.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
oh, you're back.
Right?
Like
Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, there
I don't quite know if that's the reference that I would use for Jonathan, but like, I'll take it. So tomorrow we're gonna have a good time. If you didn't buy tickets, sorry. My bad. We sold out. We actually sold out in 2 days for this, so that was a nice feeling. I think we've covered all the bases here. Yeah, nice. Ryan's ready to go to bed. Ryan's ready to go to bed.
I guess this is where we do our wind down.
Yeah, we do our wind down. We do a wind down. We do parting recommendations, and then we do shameless plugs.
Yeah. You want to do a lightning round here?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck this guy. He could sleep eventually. It's fine.
So
he's fine.
So parting recommendations will all recommend. It can be anything as long as it's not yours. So something that people should eat, read, watch, listen to, and you can do as many of those as you want. You can go first, or you can pass it off to anybody else.
I'll go. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Just because I watched a movie. It was actually very good. It's called The Kingsman.
Oh yeah.
I think it was a prequel to like the other Kingsman movies. It was a good watch. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I recommend it very much. I also attempted to watch The Last Duel. Right? The Last Duel. The guy who played Han Solo's son in Star Wars.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I forget his name. He played he played the bad guy. And then Matt Damon played the good guy, but they were like really trying to make this movie so proper, like duel-like, and I was like, I'm falling asleep. I tried to watch it 3 times. I fell asleep all 3 times, and I just didn't.
Not recommending
I'm not recommending that, but I am recommending The Kingsman because I have a short attention span. The Kingsman, so it's about like a secret agency.
Like dapper dudes that
Oxfords.
Lots
they all wear suits.
Lots of umbrellas.
Yeah, they have umbrellas that have umbrellas that they pull. They pull swords out of, and then the sword also has a gun on it.
Exactly.
And I love all of that because I would love to dress like that.
Anything
and
less
then have
would
a
be
cane that has
uncivilized.
a sword and a gun.
Yeah,
I would love to be totally prepared for all.
Shooting your umbrella gun out of the side of your caddy.
We're gonna sword fight, but I can also shoot you, and we can call this a day.
Right, and we can call it a day.
Right, we can call it a day. So, yeah, I mean, it was the whole secret society thing. It was cool. So that's my parting recommendation. Food wise,
the ending of that movie's.
Did you watch it?
I've seen that. Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, I know, but now there's a prequel. That just came out.
I saw the
so it's about how it started.
I was like, man, I can get.
Yeah, no. So now it's about how it started, which I like the story of how it started.
The Kingsman? Yeah, I didn't know anything about the prequel. I thought he was just saying he saw the first one.
No.
Oh, okay.
As you guys go through this, I'm going to Google to make sure I'm talking about the new movie.
No, I believe you. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Food-wise, I haven't really eaten much of note. I did visit a gas station cafe and had a very good Colombian empanada. The gas station is on 22nd and Coral Way. It's called Mimi's Cafe. It is located inside of a gas station that has very affordable gasoline, which is not common in today's world. So I recommend that gas station. I also recommend having the empanada. The croquetas, stay away from, but the empanada, good time.
Good stuff.
Nice.
I'll give Ryan a little bit more time to think about his stuff.
It could be whatever.
No. On the contrary, it could be wherever. I mean, you know.
So like maybe people.
I mean, look, we got listeners all over the place. You know.
Yeah. Right.
One of my partner recommendations was Albi.
Ah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm going to recommend a movie and a cookbook. Neither of these is new to me, but I was thinking about both of them today. The movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. Plan 9 from Outer Space is a famously awful movie. In fact, the movie was made by a guy named Ed Wood. The movie Ed Wood is where Johnny Depp plays Ed Wood, making Plan 9 from Outer Space. So there's a whole story about how this movie comes together. It's a famously terrible, terrible movie from, like, I want to say the 40s that attempted to merge zombie movie, vampire movie, and alien movie all in one movie.
I love that.
And it is just such a spectacular shit show.
In a long time, so.
This was one of the first movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah, spectacular shit show, this thing. And the cookbook I'm recommending is, and there is a movie coming out, I believe. It's the Bob's Burgers cookbook. If you watch Bob's Burgers.
No.
It's a cartoon on Fox about it's I forget the name of the actor, but he's the same guy who voices Archer. And it's about a family that runs a burger joint in Jersey. So think like The Simpsons, but all based out of a burger spot instead of a restaurant. And one of the running gags on the show is that it always starts in the dining room, and then they've got their special chalkboard where the special of the day is on there, and it's always a super cheesy pun, like the If Looks Could Kale burger or the Papaya Rose Rolling Stone burger. And so the cookbook is a good time. Even if you never make a burger, I've flipped through that burger cookbook a million times. Just like, look at that. Get a little laugh out of it. So Bob's Burgers cookbook.
Just to point out, The King's Man. It's called The King's Man.
Different from The Kingsman.
Correct.
Yeah.
The King's Man.
Yeah.
Is a 2021 movie. Right?
Okay,
But there's also the Kingsman film series.
That's
right.
Which started in 2014.
Yeah.
So, different things, different movies.
I mean, that only makes sense. Before there can be Kingsman, there's got to be a Kingsman.
There has to be a Kingsman.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
They should have hired us to come up with the taglines for those posters.
I think we would crush that.
Oh, man.
You should hear our ads. They're pretty fucking dreadful, but very entertaining.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, listen, I know for a fact that somebody asked for a window quote. We got an Impact Windows ad on this podcast. Shout out to Elite Impact Glass.
Shout out to
Mention Pancom Podcast and get 10% off your installation.
I love that. Your turn, sir.
Awesome. Shit. Recommend
Anything,
I
man.
don't get out enough.
Yeah, well,
You know, like,
it's
fuck.
fine.
It could
You
be something that
recommended shit
that
to
you
me
cooked
when
at
I was
home
there.
too. You could recommend people cook a thing at home if you've been cooking at home a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So, I can recommend a show, right? Deanna and I, my fiance, we've been watching. Is it on Netflix? Ozark.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
seen that?
I watched first 2 seasons
Yeah,
of Ozark.
is it the third season now? Came
Yeah,
out,
I haven't
right?
gotten into there.
Yeah, it's addicting. Right?
Yeah, it's one of those.
One of those, exactly, right? So we've been watching it. So one of those things that she makes me swear not to watch once she falls asleep.
Right, but
You
that doesn't
know?
happen ever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm finished, but she has no idea until now.
She's got to listen to all 2 hours of this to get there.
Exactly, to
So
get
you're
there.
good. You're
So,
good.
like, we made it.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're dead. No. I have no idea. But that
Spoiler
show,
alert.
Exactly. That show is awesome. And then I would say recommend 2 things in New York City. Right, like Sushi Nas.
Oh, David Fuchs,
Fuchs,
one of
there
our.
you
He's kind of in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
We'll let him in.
Yeah, we'll let him into the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
He's been on the
Second
show.
ballot.
David is
Awesome.
he's going to be here tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I think he's in the Big Ten.
Oh, is he in the
Yes,
Big Ten?
he's with them.
got a separate table, so we're
Does
going to have
he?
to talk to him about
Shit.
that.
Okay, maybe it's the Big 12. But yeah, Sushi Nas, awesome, right? Killing the game, bringing crazy stuff from Japan. We dined I dined twice in the same week, right before the New Year. It was incredible. And then there's a new little. It's called Mogmog, Japanese market in New York City. It's like we buy fish from him at the restaurants, but he's just like killing it with like, you know, bringing all these things for people in the marketplace to like buy Hokkaido sea urchin, white strawberries, like Amao strawberries, like beautiful wild bluefin toro, all these like stunning things and prepared foods in his marketplace. So I think something cool and inspiring for us because we're also trying to look at, you know, doing something similar in that facet. So it's pretty cool, and I think like you know, opens people's eyes up to new things, you know, and then you take those things home and sets the bar for what tuna belly should taste like when you go out to eat, you know. But no, he's killing it. So I think it's cool.
All right. Solid parting recommendations. Now shameless plugs.
And now for the shameless plugs. This is
Let's Nick go first because I don't ever do them, but that's good.
Oh well, but I'd rather have Ryan shamelessly plug his stuff.
Shamelessly.
Yeah, tell everybody where they can find you.
So Jônt has been sold out for the next 6 months.
Yeah, that's shameless plugs. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So let's see how automated I can do this. We are located at.
That's good. Yeah, it's robotic.
We are located at 1904 14th Street Northwest, Washington D.C.
Wow, that's good.
Bresca Jônt, same building, one entrance. Come say hello. Now we're in D.C. Bresca Jônt, same location. We live there. You can see us there every night.
You're the best.
Oh shit, nice.
You're the best.
How did that happen?
Text.
What kind of shameless plug?
That was a text.
Where's that shameless plug?
That was a text.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We're in DC every day.
Good shit. Shameless plugs. You can find Pancon Podcast at Pancon Podcast, Pancon Podcast, not Pumpkin Podcast, not Panko Podcast, not Pinko Podcast, Pancon Podcast, like a podcast sandwich. Also, dademag.com/Pancon Podcast. You can give us all of your money,
all your money,
of it,
everything,
whatever's left after all of these dinners that you are now booking, thanks to this podcast.
Yeah,
at Patreon, patreon.com/DADEMAG, DADEMAG. If you give us enough money, we'll send you coffee every month.
Yeah.
Also, it's been a while since you got a shameless plug. Follow Petey the Dog at Peaty, like a Petey Scotch, Petey the Dog on Instagram.
The real champion here.
The real champion, the real producer. No one has produced more podcasts while deaf than Petey the Dog.
Another parting recommendation I have is to listen to the Liberated podcast now on.
That's true. Yeah.
Now on the new Dade Mag platform, hosted by our producer Nicholas Jiménez and all his great guests.
Oh man!
The Liberated podcast, brought to you by Nicholas Jiménez.
That's right. That's a very different podcast.
Yeah. Just so you know, we have nothing to do with each other.
No. Although I have considered having you on as a guest.
Oh,
you might get an invitation sometime soon.
Oh man!
Maybe
I'm going to be a guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
This is going to be a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the next time you come to use my toilet.
Oh man, that's it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be soon.
It's been a while. It's glorious.
You got a garage. You got a garage.
It's got like one of those pooper stoopers, right? Like you get the little feet thing.
I do have a squatty potty.
Squatty potty. That's what it's called.
Yeah. There is a squatty potty. I never use a squatty potty. I'm not comfortable with a squatty potty. It requires that you take pants all the way off.
That was a non-recommendation.
That's it. I recommend you don't.
You should not clutter your floor.
I would say I
let's stop this while we're ahead. For fuck's sake!
I recommend you try a friend's squatty potty before you get your own.
Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show. Now, for the people that have given us all of your $1 every month, you can listen to the lightning round where I ask Ryan 5 very quick questions before he tells me to go fuck myself. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bow.
Bye.